Is it really necessary to have all of these Foxfire books? Stay tuned as I am going to do a review along with a little history of the Foxfire series and why this is truly a treasure to me. Welcome to the Wellness Homesteader. Well, welcome YouTube friends and family to today's edition of the Wellness Homesteader. And as I said in the intro, I finally got my Foxfire book series, and I thought I would share with you why I thought that this was an important book series for me to own. So first I want to say, y'all don't look at my thumb. Only I forgot I sharpened my scissors, and yeah, it cut my thumb, and you could probably go get a stitch, but you know what? It'll heal. If worse comes to worse, I will super glue it. I have done that before, not with medical grade super glue, so I'm not giving you medical advice. Let me grab my sippy cup here. So, in 1966, and I do have some talking notes, so please excuse, an English teacher at Robin Gap Nkochi School, which is in Northeast Georgia, was really struggling with the students. You know, them not paying attention or finding value in teaching English. So he put the idea out to them. What would be interesting to you? What would help you learn more? And they decided to create a magazine, which was called the Foxfire Magazine, and is still, guys, in production today, twice a year. Now, I have not perused how much that cost or decided to subscribe because I'm not a real fan of magazines, and I've got 14 books to look at, just saying. But what they did is they collected stories from their families, their friends, and their neighbors about pioneer living in Southern Appalachia, as well as some of the current practices that their families still carried on as tradition or the skills that they had learned. Why did they call it Foxfire? I was really curious about this. Had to do a little Googling. There is a glow-in-the-dark fungus that grows in Southern Appalachia, Northern Georgia, however you want to look at it, in the hills. And it glows in the dark. Who knew that? And so it's been nicknamed, I guess, Foxfire. And they decided that would be a good name for their book series. So I thought that was super interesting. But it turned into such a phenomenon of education, of living history, and kind of explained how our past contributes to our present and may also affect our future, which I think is such a beautiful thing. I think a lot of family tradition gets lost, and I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. And it also talks about how our past illuminates our present, but also inspires our future. So what a neat concept. So while everything in these books, I don't really need to know how to slaughter a hog today. I might need to know next week, you never know. I just thought that this would be a great series for me to have. So before I get into why I'm so interested in it as far as my roots, I wanted to give you a little bit of pricing. So you can catch these on sale, guys, and I really encourage you to do your due diligence on pricing if you're interested in having the book set. I'm sure many of you have had the whole series for many years and didn't pay anything like this. But hello, it's 2022, and breathing is expensive. So Lehman's, LEHMANS.com. That is primarily an Amish and Mennonite goods store online. I've ordered many things from them. Guys, their customer service is truly amazing, truly different than what we typically have come to expect from customer service. They have volumes 1 through 12 for $1.99. Today, which is Wednesday, April 27th, that's the cheapest price for new that I could find. Now, when I originally wanted the books, oh goodness, I was going out to places like Etsy, eBay, Abe Books, all the used book places that you can buy online. And guys, I apologize, okay, there we go. Had a little hair tickling me. And I was trying to build the set. Well, I realized that would take most of my natural lifetime, and I really wanted the book set. So I did purchase it on Amazon. Now on Amazon, you can buy the 14 book set, which includes, and I wanted it all, guys, you know, the 40th anniversary edition. I'll hold that up a little bit. And I love the cover of this one, the 45th anniversary book, which is Singin', Praisin', and Raisin'. So if those two books don't interest you, you can buy a 12-book set. And right now it's on sale, guys. I'll go back to the price of the 14. It's normally $250. It's on sale for $222 today on Amazon with limited quantities. The 14-book set is on sale for $241. It's regularly $325. Guys, I have seen full sets both on eBay and Etsy, which is not always the best place, but sometimes can be. You know, you just don't know. For upwards of $400. Don't pay that. Guys, just don't pay that. Do your searching around. I'm going to go through each of the books, and I hope this doesn't get boring. I'm not going to read to you, but I'm going to tell you what the topics are. They also sell sets of like 1 to 3, 1 to 7. So if there is a particular genre in the series that you're interested in, and you really don't want all the books, because I'm going, okay, I'm going to need, it's going to get expensive because I need a new bookshelf. But that's a topic for another day, right? You can get what you're just interested in. And if there's one book, you might be able to find it on like Abe's, or I don't know, I can't think of the other used bookstore that I've used. Thrift books. And y'all, I apologize. This is kind of a funny thing. So I've shared before, guys, I have terrible sleeping issues. And I had literally not slept well for like a week. I know not why. And I will not take sleeping pills. So if I sleep, I sleep. And if I don't, I don't. And last night, I stayed up way too late, which is a rarity for me. I'm usually in bed by 8 o'clock. But I was chatting with friends, and then I got interested in a television show. It was a YouTube video. I love me some crime TV. So I wake up, and I'm like, I'm usually up between 2 and 4 a.m. And I was up at 4 a.m. for years and years and years for work. So that's kind of my body clock. I wake up and it's daylight, and I'm like, oh my word, I am late for something, because I call my mom at 7 every morning. So my thought was, well, let me check my watch. Well, if y'all have a Fitbit, you know, if you tap it multiple times, depending on the model, it'll give you your heart rate. It will give you how many steps. Well, somehow I had it on heart rate. I'm like, how can it be like 60 o'clock? That makes no sense. So finally get my glasses, figure out that it's 6 minutes after 10. Guys, I can't remember ever sleeping that late. Even when I've been up all night, you know, I usually just take a nap, right? So poor Frankie was like, I miss you so much, Mom. You slept a long time. So I had to get up and like get around, and it is 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I never do videos this late in the day, but yeah, I am today. I'm not even sure why I went into all that, but oh, that's why I'm thirsty. Okay. So there is a website, if you're interested in looking, called foxfire.org. And it's actually an Appalachian village of 20 historical log structures with various mountain life artifacts. There is also a museum for research, which you can visit by appointment only. So it has a lot of historical documents, etc. It's located in Mountain City, Georgia, which is northern Georgia, northeastern Georgia, we'll say. It's about 2 hours from Atlanta, if that helps you out. They have a map on their website, so you can determine how close or far it is from you. Why am I so interested in Appalachian history? Y'all, there is so much family history for my family that's been lost, and unfortunately, it's gone forever. So I'm going to share just a little snippet with you. My dad was one of 10 children, 7 of which lived to adulthood. My dad was the youngest son, the one before the youngest child. My dad's mother, I have always been told that, and she looked at, was full-blooded Cherokee Indian. She was not. Based on my DNA. It says, nope. So, whether she is or isn't, at least she was surrounded by people who had a lot of the Native American folklore. My grandma knew every plant, every herb. Sometimes her cures about killed you, but they would cure you. She never had a doctor for any of her children. It's kind of a miracle that 7 of 10 even made it to adulthood. I was very young when my grandma passed away, preteen. I learned nothing from my grandmother. My dad had some of the knowledge, but that went with my dad. And as he moved away from Eastern Kentucky, Appalachia, life changes. And, you know, they were married in 1950, so that was kind of an era where maybe we moved away from some of the natural cures and folklore, if you will, because it was the space age. Plastic was developed. You know, everything was coming up rosy after the Depression and the war. So, unfortunately, that is lost to me. So I have a yearning at age 61 to learn a little bit more about my heritage. Now, I can talk Southern talk. I can say maters and taters and all those cute words. But the truth of the matter is, there's a hole in my soul, if you will. I probably shouldn't say soul. Hole in my heart for things that I've missed. And not only would I like to learn them, I would like to be able to share some of my heritage with my son, who is very interested as well. So the first thing that I bought, and I think I've shared this book before, so I'll show it to you. It's Smokehouse Ham, Spoon Bread, and Scuppernong Wine, The Folklore and Art of Southern Appalachia Cooking by Joseph E. Dabney. I know I've shared this with y'all before. So it's so fascinating because, let me just show you a picture. It's actually the history of how a lot of these recipes were developed and what work it took. Here's a lady with a churn, Nina O'Kelly of the Upper Hominy District of Buncombe County, North Carolina, churns away as she makes fresh butter and buttermilk in this 1920s scene. Pardon me. Hiccups, guys. Now, it does have some recipes that I'm not interested in, such as deep-fried rattlesnake, mountain whistle pig, which is groundhog, possum. You know, I think I've eaten rattlesnake, actually. But at any rate, understanding the struggles they had, how they survived. And guys, I don't want to make this a depressing, the sky is falling prepping video, but let me tell you all, we don't know what's coming. The Lord does not give us, in my opinion, a crystal ball to see what the future is. Now, I hope I never have to eat groundhog or whistle pig, but just knowing some of these skills, especially around natural cures or natural medicines, might come in handy in my lifetime. And if it doesn't, it puts me better in touch with my grandma and my grandpa, who lived their entire lives in rural Eastern Kentucky. And my apologies, guys. Now I have something on my eye. Oh my goodness. All right, hold on a minute, guys. Y'all, unfortunately, thumb's still bleeding after 2 hours. Hold it tighter. Frankie's really shedding, and Frankie's terrified of the clippers. I would love to shave him down and leave him like a poofy tail and a big furry mane, but shave his body. Yeah, that's not happening. So when I'm doing these videos and you see me like snatching at imaginary things, it's cat hair flying by. And I vacuum every other day. It's not a cleanliness matter. When you have a big cat with lots and lots of hair, you're going to have cat hair. All right. So that's a little bit of my background. And while I'm sorry I did not learn from my grandma Elizabeth, who they called Lizzie, or my grandpa, who I did learn some things from, but he was a Baptist minister and a tobacco farmer, which is kind of an odd dichotomy. But you know, they never left the home place until my grandma had, unfortunately, a massive stroke, was in a nursing home for 9 months, and my grandpa came to live with us. So that's why I did get to learn. Oh, my apologies, guys. My weekly generator run is going, so if you can hear the jet engine going off on the side, that's what it is. But thankfully it runs smoothly and you can't even tell the changeover. All right, let's get into the books. What do you say? Okay, guys, let's get into the books. So I'm just going to share the high-level topics and just a little bit about what's the structure of the book that I think will help you. So this is actually the very first book, and this is the magazine that the English teacher in 1966, this is the contents of this book. So it has hog dressing, and that does not mean stuffing mix for your pork. Log cabin building. Okay, I'm probably not going to build a log cabin, but the principles of building, very interesting and might help if you're shoring up a structure, if maybe you want to build a chicken coop or an outbuilding. Mountain crafts and food. Planting by the signs. I watch a lot of channels, and I do not watch any network TV. I don't have cable. I don't care about any of that personally. It's a personal choice. I will say, and this channel may not be everyone's cup of tea, okay? And I'm not criticizing the channel. I'm just saying sometimes the content is relevant to me. Sometimes the content is not. That's probably the easiest way to say it. However, Patera over at Appalachia's Homestead, Appalachia is what she says. I was taught Appalachia, but anyway, she does some planting by the signs, and it's very interesting to me because it relates to my heritage. Now, she might not be doing that right now, but she has some past videos on it. Snake lore. So again, my parents growing up in Eastern Kentucky, when we would go down to visit, the one thing that was a big deal were all the copperhead snakes. So I'm just interested to read about it. I'm not planning on keeping snakes, just saying. Hunting tales. So that might be interesting for my son who hunts. I personally do not hunt. Faith healing. Okay, I'm not going to be bringing you faith healing videos either, but it's interesting. And I know my grandpa, as a Southern Baptist / Pentecostal minister, definitely believed in some faith healing. So, and then the final topic, and guys, I'm interested, I might as well tell you, is moonshining. So, if you watch a lot of prepper channels, you know what the #1 prep many of the bigger channels say that you need to have on hand. Now, I'm not telling you this because I don't have it, y'all. Is vodka, and if you can get it, moonshine. So think back when there was not modern medicine available to a lot of the Appalachian community. There was a lot of distrust of Western medicine, etc. Moonshine was good for a lot of things, whether it was used as a disinfectant, to clean wounds, as a cough medication, as an anesthetic, if they needed to do a painful procedure. My grandma, used spirits, we'll say, not, I don't know that you would call, well, they didn't have a still, so I don't guess it was moonshine. It was probably more like a Scuppernong wine to extract beneficial properties from herbs. And that would be my interest. But back to the prepper channels, they're saying great bartering tool. So if things were to go to a point where certain products you wanted were unaffordable or unavailable, you might be able to barter your moonshine. So if I bring you a video and I got a still set up, don't tell the revenuers. No, I'm just teasing. And on the cover here, guys, see the lady making the basket? Yeah, very neat. So, and I actually need to take this phone call, so pardon me for just a moment. My apologies, y'all. It was my tax advisor, you know, and you always answer those phone calls. Not that I'm just getting my taxes done. I had some questions for him about 2022. Okay, enough about that. So back to the first volume. The first volume celebrates the home life and creative history of Appalachia, including sections on making butter, preserving foods, soap making, interested to see that, basket weaving, and building a log cabin, as well as a variety of the kind of spirited first-hand narrative accounts from the Appalachian community members that exemplify the Foxfire style. So, I just randomly open this, okay? So here's a picture. Here's a picture, and I'm sorry I chose that one because it's dressing and cooking wild animal foods, and this is how to skin and dress a raccoon. So we'll just go right on past that. Y'all, I'm the woman that feeds the squirrels, and I have 2 squirrel mamas about to have babies. I'm so excited. And I had some pumpkins that I had wintered over in my garage that were beyond themselves. So they've been enjoying pumpkin. They love it. I feed the birds. I have 2 nests with eggs in them. So yeah, it's kind of like Wild Kingdom around here. All right. So what is volume 2? Ghost stories, spring wild plant foods. How interesting. You know, I have this big woods that I can go see what I can eat. Hopefully not wild mushrooms. Don't trust that. Spinning and weaving. So I do have a loom. Midwifing. As a nurse, I can deliver a baby. Burial customs. So I will share a little something with you. My dad's job, with my grandpa being a minister, and he talked about it, was he went with his grandpa to help prepare the body for burial. There was no embalming. There weren't autopsies. Rural Appalachia, right? So I'm very interested to see what stories there are and how it relates to things that my dad has told me. Corn shuckins and wagon making. So very interesting. The second volume celebrates the rites and customs of Appalachia and includes sections of old-time burials, midwives, granny woman, witches, and haints, as well as a variety of the kind of spirited first-hand and narrative accounts, blah, blah, blah. So very interesting. Okay, wow. Volume 3, animal care. Okay, guys, this would be great with my want of chickens. Still want chickens, guys. Still working with an acquaintance to try to get some hens. Banjos and dulcimers. So a couple of you have asked, you'll see the banjo over here by my fireplace. My daddy played the banjo very beautifully. And this banjo was one he made. He made it. He made it with his own 2 hands from wood and, you know, all of that. So do I play the banjo? No. Would I like to learn? Yes. But I just would like to read about it. Hide tanning. Don't plan on skinning anything. Summer and fall wild plant foods. Butter churns and ginseng. Now, back in the day, when I did have cable, there was a series, and I think it was on like TLC or Discovery, about people who earn their living by hunting ginseng and selling it. So the third volume includes sections on hide tanning, building a lumber kiln, you know, so you could carry your own wood, making apple butter and corn shuck mops, as well as blah, 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 the same little narrative. Volume 4, fiddle making. Now, my dad never played the fiddle, spring houses, horse trading. I'm sure there's some good stories in there. Sassafras tea. Love me some sassafras tea. Grew up on sassafras tea and sassafras candy. However, there's some debate about whether that's healthy. Berry buckets and gardening. And it says, includes sections on knife making, wood carving, logging, cheese making. So just because it doesn't say it on the front, the back gives you additional info. Volume 5, iron making, blacksmithing, flintlock rifles, bear hunting. Now, we don't have bear in Ohio. And it says it includes sections on horseshoes, cowbells, shovels, bellows, barrels, and furnaces. So much that I remember well from my childhood as we would visit family. You know, my parents moved up to Ohio long before I ever came around. So we did a lot of, you know, southern visiting. Okay, volume 6, shoemaking. You know, that might come in handy. Even how to mend your own shoes if you really like a pair of shoes. 100 toys and games. How fun could that be? Gourd banjos and song bows, wooden locks, a water-powered sawmill. And it says, includes sections on making toys from bow and arrows to merry-go-rounds, from flying jennies, I don't know what that is, to puzzles, cornstalk fiddles, and cucumber dolls, as well as the same gist. Okay, so that's the first 6 volumes. Let's go really quickly through the second 6. I know it's getting long. And I didn't know, guys, I will tell you, I have a really good video I'm going to bring you, but I needed an ingredient that I didn't have that I had to order because I can't find it locally. So hopefully Saturday, guys, I have something so cool to share with you. I just can't wait to unbox and share it because I haven't even unboxed it yet. All right, volume 7, ministers and church members. So how relative is that? Revivals and baptisms, shaped notes and gospel singing, faith healing and camp meetings, foot washing. So in certain religions, foot washing is a ritual, not like, but think about like communion and things like that that are rituals in some churches. And I will not be bringing you a video on this, snake handling. So this says, includes sections on baptisms, foot washings, and the songs and rituals of a variety of organized religions in the region, from Baptist to Methodist to Pentecostal to Presbyterians. So I think this is going to be more of a pleasure read for me. Okay, volume 8, Southern folk pottery from Pug Mills. Love me some pottery. Ash glazes, groundhog kilns to face jugs, and you've all probably seen the jugs with faces on them, churns, roosters, mule swapping, and chicken fighting. So back here it says, includes sections on Southern folk pottery from glazed snake jars to swirlware to flower pots, chicken fighting, breeding, and conditioning, as well as the same. All right, next volume, volume 9. General stores. Okay, there was a general store. My grandpa would let me walk with him to the general store, which was quite dirty. I'll just share that. And my mother, the only job my mother ever had when my dad went to the Korean War, was she worked in a little general store. I actually have a ashtray she purchased from the general store. It was a Christmas promotional item. So anyway, general stores. The Judd Nelson wagon, not sure what that is, a praying rock, a Catawban Indian potter, haint tales. And I'm going to have to look up what haint is. I think haint is kind of like a witch, but I don't know that for sure. Quilting, home cures, bet I've taken a few of those. The Log Cabin Revisited. And it says, includes sections on herbal remedies, herb doctors and healers, witchy and ghostly folk tales, crazy quilting, and appreciating the log cabin. Number 10, railroad lore, boarding houses, Depression-era Appalachia, chair making, whirligigs, snake canes, gourd art. And This says includes sections on old folklore, the early road of the railroad, building and technology from Depression to the present. So as you can see, some of these may have really good information we can use today, and some of this is learning about the richness of history, whether you have Appalachian home family, or what am I trying to say? A provenance, you know, that's where your family came from. All right, 11, the old home place. And believe me, my grandparents' house was always called the home place. Wild plant uses, super beneficial. Preserving and cooking food. Hunting stories, fishing, more affairs of plain living. And by plain, they don't mean Mennonite. And it says, celebrates the rituals and recipes of Appalachian home place, includes section on herbal remedies, planting and growing a garden, preserving and pickling, smoking and salting, honey making, beekeeping, fishing, as well as, in the same little piece of information. Foxfire 12. Okay, this is the last book in the Foxfire series, if you just order the regular series. So, square dancing crafts, Cherokee traditions, summer camps, World War veterans personalities. So this says it's the latest volume, the first in more than 5 years, so between the 11th and 12th. Here are reminiscences, that's a hard word to say, you know, thinking back on, learning how to square dance, tales about the traditional craftsmen who created useful items in old-time ways that have since disappeared in most of the country. Here are lessons on how to make rose beads and wooden caskets, and on how to find turtles in your local pond. We hear the voices of descendants of the Cherokees who lived in the region, and we learn about what summer camp was like for generations of youngsters. We meet a rich assortment of Appalachian characters and listen to veterans recount their war experiences. Illustrated with photographs and drawings, Foxfire 12 is a rich trove of information and stories from a fascinating American culture. So this is like the crescendo of the books. So then, this particular set that I ordered, and guys, I hate to tell you, but I got it even less expensive. You know, another thing that you can do is go ahead and put it in your Amazon cart, save it for later, and it will notify you if the price goes up and down. So the 40th anniversary book is Faith, Family, and the Land. And it says, for 4 decades, Foxfire has brought the philosophy of simple living to readers, blah, 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 teaching creative self-sufficiency, home crafts, and the art of natural remedies, and preserving the stories of Appalachia. The anniversary edition brings us generations of voices and lessons about the 3 essential Appalachian values of faith, family, and the land. We listen to the elders share their memories of how things used to be, and to the new generations eager to preserve traditional values in a more complicated world. There are descriptions of old church services, popular games and pastimes, and family recipes. Rich with memories and useful lessons, this is a fitting tribute to the inspiring and practical publication that has become a classic American institution. So now we have, 5 years later, the 45th anniversary book. And it says, the Foxfire 45th anniversary book continues the beloved tradition of celebrating a simpler life, this time with a focus on Appalachian music, folk legends, and a history full of outsized personalities. We hear the encouraging life stories of banjo players, gospel singers, bluegrass musicians who reminisce about their first time playing at the Grand Ole Opry. We shiver at the spine-tingling collection of tall tales from ghosts born of long-ago crimes to rumors of giant catfish that lurk at the bottoms of lakes and quarries. We recollect the family farm program that sustained and educated Appalachian families for almost 50 years through the Depression and beyond. We learn the time-honed skills of those who came before, from building a sled to planting azaleas and braiding a leather bullwhip. With spirited narrative accounts and enduring knowledge, the Foxfire 45th anniversary is a piece of living history from fascinating American culture. So these two, I think, are more reading books, and these are more knowledge books with some personality thrown in. So drop me a comment below if you will. what do you think about the Foxfire series? Do you think it would have useful things perhaps relative to you today? Is this a little too outdated and too simple? Or I can guarantee you it's going to be a fascinating read if you like history at all. So again, on Saturday, I look so forward to sharing something new with you. Just so excited. I have so many video topics I would like to do, but after not getting up until 10 o'clock, I was a little off my schedule today. So I need to get busy, get this uploaded, because that can take hours here in rural Ohio. So at any rate, until I see you on Saturday, oh, don't forget to go ahead and smash that like button. And guys, welcome to all the new subscribers. I always forget to say that. I so appreciate that my channel is growing. And I would ask my current subscribers, do me a favor. If you have some like-minded friends or people you know that would enjoy my content, there's a little button down below that says share with an arrow. Share my video. You can share it on your social media. You can share it via an email or a text. You know, it just really helps my channel grow. And even in retirement, I am really enjoying YouTube and the friendships that I've made, and you all are lovely, and I appreciate all your emails. Please don't ever apologize like, I'm sorry I'm bothering you. You are never bothering me. All right, enough about that. Until I see you on Saturday, be healthy, be well, be blessed, and I will see you all very soon. Take care.